We're trying to work through a few different things out here. So
Yeah,
The,
yes,
the swimming duck kung fu class.
yeah, it is the we might be slow, but we don't quit process.
I got you.
What's that? No penny zone.
That's right. Of course, it's easier to say that when you're sitting in the air conditioner.
I've got it. I'm nice and dry.
When we're working on the fire set, there's a couple places in your kung fu that you'll practice striking, and in the Tai Chi, they would. The theory being that anytime you're striking, it's your opportunity to try to, come out ahead, and but it's also the time you're usually the most vulnerable because your mind is usually further out because you're trying to hit something. So your mind kind of can. It's a lot easier for the untrained mind to get very extended away from the center line. Which, if you run across somebody who's moderately trained and they see you coming with the big Hail Mary, they know for a fact that more than likely you'll overextend. So they might actually invite you to do it, so that you end up with basically your hand caught in the cookie jar over your skis. There's a lot of metaphors for it. If you've ever had it happen to you, you know exactly what it feels like, and you learn reservation a little bit quicker. But one of the places that so they have a saying for it is they would say uh, 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 striking without folding is foolish, and folding without striking is useless. And so in the Tai Chi, usually what you'll do is you'll find that almost every time you do a strike, it's followed immediately with a folding. The two primary foldings is the one that you do most of all right now is the hand under elbow. So once you strike, the pulling hand, the intercepting hand, however you want to use it, slides under the elbow, and then you end up folding. Now I'm going to do it toward the camera. So if I'm striking, then it slides under the elbow. This is where you see the folding. So you learn to train yourself that no matter how hard, how fast you throw that punch, you learn to train yourself to fold after it so that you don't go but so far. Okay, so it's followed up with this motion. Okay, and then you're supposed to practice it, of course, on both sides, unless you're just lucky enough to always make your enemy get on your dominant side. Right, which I'm sure some of you do have your lucky charms, but just in case it fell out of your pocket at the picnic, you might want to practice both sides. So the idea with that is to strike, and then as it's pulling, the empty hand just slides under the elbow. Now, one of the things you'll see me do when we're practicing the form is a lot of times you'll see me just sit back and turn my waist. Okay, so if you could see the zipper of my jacket, you'll see it opens up slightly to the natural side. Okay, and that's just a way of practicing in case you get too far and you get your hands up. The other reason in force too is in case you miss, get your hands up in front of your face. This is why we don't practice like this, because now you just took one in the lip. Okay, get your hands up after you strike. This is a nice place to be. It's better than this, right? All right, so that's one folding. The other folding, Ryan's familiar with, Bob Speed and Bruce are familiar with, is called snake's tongue. And it does the strike, but this time the folding hand is the punching hand, so that as it goes out, then the striking hand folds under to the belly button and comes out into what is called a snake's tongue. The reason it's called a snake's tongue is because it comes up your body with the palm toward your body as much as you can under the chin. And my son used to love to practice it and go and open his mouth as he'd do it. So you could pretend like you were a snake, right? But the idea is that once you punch, the hands fold into a snake's tongue. The other hand finishes up at the abdomen, at the lower dantian, and the other one ends up in what they'll eventually call a technique called spear hand. But it's the process, snake's tongue, that gets you there in this particular case. So just practice that with your dominant strike, snake's tongue, and then later you can add feet to it. Let me see what you got. The striking part doesn't change, right? So no matter how you do it, if you're going out, then this hand pulls in, and then the striking hand snakes out and under. All right, so let me look at the folks online and see how they're doing.
I've got to do it so much, 2 or 3 times before I get it.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's not an easy technique. You can do it just as we do it sometimes just as a Qigong exercise, right? Where we just roll and roll. And this is where you would see in the San Francisco set of Qigong, where I say, put Bengay on your arm, right? It's the same technique. The snake's tongue. All right, go the other way. Kathy, there you go. Okay, so it goes down to the belly button, up under the chin, and then out. And what you're trying to do is keep it in that center line. Okay. So as I strike, I'm in my nose line. And then as the hand drops, it comes right down to my belly button, up my center line, and then back out the nose line. Now that's great. Like if you have bursitis in the elbow and things like that, it's a great way of trying to keep the joints nice and loose. Y'all can see us pretty good out here, huh?
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Okay. All right, good. I got little lights set up. All right. If you haven't already, switch hands. Just it may be helpful. A lot of times when you think of the spear hand, you can think of it as a opportunity. So if I'm throwing this strike into the lower abdomen, as he's folding down, basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the other hand and I'm pressing down and coming right back over the top. Okay. So if I just go light, it goes bam, bam. Now, Super Co used to call it elbow strike. Okay. And that's exactly how you would use it. Just drive that elbow right into the area. But it's also great for the clavicle, right? So you can just jam right down there across the clavicle with the forearm and hand, and it works out great. But that's basically what you're doing with it. You're driving in, then you're taking that hand and you're Bob Speed. You're pulling the guard down is what he usually likes to say. You're suppressing the guard, right? And then you roll right out with it. That's it, Bob. Good. Ooh, thank you. Y'all still got me?
Yep.
I dropped an ear. Okay, good. I dropped an earbud, so I wasn't sure if you still had me or not. Okay. There we go. I'll do it from the side a couple of times so y'all can continue to see. And it's a good exercise just to practice. You don't need it right now as far as most of your forms and all, but it is something to have in your repertoire to practice, even if you're just practicing it for the Qigong part to loosen up the elbow. The other thing I just bring to your attention is that how the two foldings take on two different circles. Right. So the hand under elbow takes more of a pie-like circle. Right. So when you see it, it looks a little bit more horizontal as far as your intention, where the hand under elbow is a very definitive. I'm sorry, the snake's tongue is a very definitive wheel circle. Okay. And so having different circles that you play in is part of that process, so that eventually you don't even think about them. You go with wherever the empty space is, right? Is that all right? So, okay. Well, Kathy had asked me about the hand under elbow earlier, and I said, well, we'll do a little bit with the fire set this evening. when we get ready to do the fire set run, you can pop up here and let them follow you, but we'll do some posting first, okay? All right, so are there any questions
No,
online?
thank you.
Okay, all right. So it's a little something to add to the repertoire. And those of you who get down the Carthage a little bit, you know, you'll be using that some on the Mook Jung. It's a good one to practice it on, especially that low bar where you take it, pop it down, and then you throw a snake's tongue right between the two other arms. Okay. All right. So here we go. My watch just alerted me that I've accomplished my fitness goals for today. Huh. All right. Now, if I can accomplish my spiritual goals, right? Every day, people would say, working on your posting every day is probably one of the most difficult challenges you'll ever have, because on a single day of practice, the amount of benefits you see is light. Okay. Sometimes you walk out and you feel much better. You're like, oh my God, I'm so glad I came to practice today. Oh, you know, I've de-stressed, or I've, re-energized myself. But in the scheme of things, people would tell us, they say, you know, it's just one piece of paper. Now, you hit 100 days in a row, 200 days in a row, and you pick up that ream of paper, that's got heft, right? That's got weight. That's got significance. The single piece is easy to oversee, which makes it very difficult, because after you've done it for 10 or 12 days, you're like, oh, you know, I'll practice today. You know, I've done it the last 10 or 12 days, and that little tiny voice will just, you know, talk to your ego and all that other stuff. And you really have to catch yourself. Say, okay, you know, at least 5 minutes, so that that little voice doesn't win, right? But they, and of course, Colin Ying put it in the sense of miss one day, lose 10. That's how important it is, because when you miss one day, it can turn to two in no time, flat. All it takes is a little bit more of justification and excuse to miss your practice. So, as a reminder, you know, just keep up your practice, no matter how light it is. Sometimes you'll feel like you accomplished something. Some days you'll feel like you went through the motions. Go through the motions, okay? At least the gods are watching, right? If you want to think of it like that, you know. And if you go through the motions, at least they say, hey, well, at least he went out there, or at least you went out there and tried to do something with what they had to do. Okay. So just like we are here, we go through the motions, pouring down rain, still out here doing our practice. Let's feet about shoulder width apart, let the hands float up. As you exhale, let everything settle down a little bit. I'm going to turn a little bit to the side so the folks out here can hear me a little easier. Let's melt the mountain. A little exercise first, just to start. Breathe in and imagine the head can inflate like an inch or two in every direction. And as you exhale, let that energy melt down into your heart. And you breathe into your heart, and your back and chest inflate in all directions. Let it melt gently and quietly down to the lower abdomen. Breathe into the lower abdomen. Let that energy melt down your legs to the bottoms of your feet. Breathe into your whole body. Let it inflate like a big balloon in all directions. And now let that energy melt through the bottoms of your feet into the earth. Repeat that last part 2 more times. Inflate the whole body. Then return to a natural breath. These next few moments, I'd like for you to just allow yourself to go to your happy place, wherever that may be, pond, lake, beach, mountain, whatever. Place that you feel safe, place that you feel well, and place that you feel happy. Every minute that you practice in the quietness and the peacefulness is a minute added back onto your life. Uh, let your eyes open gently. Let the hands float. And walk through the fire set. Nice and easy. We're not going to go real slow because I like for it to stay smooth, but we're never in a rush. Step out. We step up at the honey step. Turn the rear toe in a little bit, reach out, and roll back. Pressing forward. And hold the moon. Separating the clouds. Washing the back of the hand. Good. Sitting back, clear the table. All right, sitting back, fan over the arms. Return. Ankles, knees. And open. Like Ryan. Good. Sitting back. Open, exhale. And return to neutral. I like to breathe in here and then exhale and climb it up a little. And back. Good. And fold. Take your time. Even though we're moving smooth, we're never in a rush. Exhale, brush knee. Palm it up. And back. Good. Now the hands roll back. They float up to your ear. Step out. Backhand. Intercept. The white snake stretches out. Roll through the grass. Pull. And then just what we spoke about. Hand under elbow. And then out. Freeze right there for this one. There we go. Everybody's together. All right, then reach up and out a little bit. Roll back. Backhand. Intercept. The white snake stretches out. Roll through the grass. And center. And floats under the elbow. Good. Sitting back. Push the sky. Gather the clouds. Now hold it in that cross hand. Just stay right here. Spread the feet out a little bit. Good. We'd like to finish practice with the same quietness that we've gathered and bring it back. Don't leave it out there in your practice. The quietness, the confidence. Now, bring the feet together, press the hands down toward the earth, stand up nice and tall, and finish up. Okay? Good. Did y'all have any questions? That felt pretty good, except for when you started watching me instead of Ryan. Okay. How about online?
It was very good.
We're good.
I just want to let you know that I practiced scan the seafloor today, and I'm sorry I didn't take pictures for you.
Yeah, right.